What are themes and styles, you ask? A theme is a set of formatting choices that can be applied to the entire document. It includes theme colors and fonts and effects, whereas style is a predefined combination of font style and color and size of the text that can be applied to a selected text. Well, that kind of sounds like the same thing, so let's put it in action to see the difference. Even though this document is just random text, you can see it's a bit boring to look at, and let's face it, if a document is boring to look at, it could influence our reader to stop reading. We could change the look by changing maybe the font type or the font color, but instead, let's enhance the whole document by bringing in a theme and using styles. We'll be able to see more of the changes of a theme if we apply styles first and then choose a theme. So let's add a few elements like a title, subtitle, some paragraph headings, and maybe a quote or even perhaps a book title. I'm not following any specific formal formatting like MLA or APA. I'm just going with what I like so I can apply some built-in styles that Word 2010 provides us. So at the beginning of my document, I'm going to put in a title of maybe Word 2010, and then maybe a subtitle of formatting documents. That makes sense. And then I'll need some paragraph headings. So instead of you watching me, I'm going to throw these in pretty quickly and pop back on. Now that those elements are in our document, it's still not that nice looking or, in fact, easier to read. In fact, I just think I cluttered it up. But if we apply some styles, then, number one, the elements will have a visual pop, and two, it will give our eyes a much needed break from the monotony of the text. First, I'm going to highlight the words Word 2010. And on the Home tab in the Styles group, I'm going to tell Word 2010 that it is a title. So it applied some nice formatting and called it a title. Secondly, I'm going to highlight Formatting Document, and since that's a subtitle, again in the Styles group, I'm going to select Subtitle. Now, for this insert, this is a heading, and I have several choices for heading. Heading 1, 2, in fact, there's headings 3, 4, 5. I mean, there are a boatload that you can choose from. So if I scroll down, there's a bunch of styles I can choose from. But I think I just want this a heading 1. What 1 means is that it's in a hierarchy. 1 is the highest level, then think of 2, 3, 4 as subheadings after that. So I'm going to go down and find galleries and say that's a heading 1, and perhaps this one I'm going to say it's a heading 2. Lastly, I have a quote in here from Mark Twain, and I'll say that is indeed a quote. And here's a book title right here, so I'm going to say that's a book title. All of these styles are built in under this particular style grouping. If I want to change the overall style of styles, I can go up to Change Styles, and there is some style sets I can choose. Right now, it's the default black and white, but there are several nice ones from Distinctive, Elegant, Fancy, all the way down to Word 2010 even has its look. So I'm going to choose one of these that I like. Distinctive's kind of nice. But let's say I'll go with Traditional. Whichever one you do choose, you do want to match the document with the document style. Some are more bold, some are more subtle. So it does depend on what fits your paper. Now the style I applied to actual text on the page. So now let's apply a theme. A theme will change the overall font type, the color scheme, the size of the font, and even some attributes that our styles were previously applied, but it does keep the general look and feel. So on the page layout in the themes, I'm going to open up Themes, and you see there is a couple dozen that we can choose from. So I'm just going to see which one I like the best. And you see the text changes, some of the colors change, some of the words are in different font, size of font. It still kind of keeps the general look and feel, but it does change some of the feel. I'm going to choose newsprint. Now I like newsprint, but I'm not really crazy about the color, and this font is a little bit, I don't know, blurry to me. So I can change those attributes. I can go up to colors and I can select a color scheme that I like better than the one that goes along with the theme by default. So I kind of am partial to blues, but maybe a little something more dramatic. I don't know. Let's just choose one. Also, the font. I wasn't crazy about the font. So by this one, we have all kinds of font sets that we can choose from. And I'm just going to choose one. Oh, that one looks much better. I can see that insert is actually insert and not some pushed in. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that font set. We have a third way of customizing our themes, and it's by effects. And now right now it's not going to do anything, but for example, if I was to insert some type of shape, and I'm just going to put one out there so you can see it, and I go over to page layout and the effects, you'll see by changing the effects it changes the shape. Like the Foundry put a little bit of a border on it. The Executive, it changed it just slightly. I mean, they're very subtle, but they're different in the formatting of it. So I'm just going to pick one of these. I could also select just like that. But I don't need the shape, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Now what if the next time I write a paper or a report, I need to use this particular theme, even the way that I have customized it? Well, I do have the capability of going back up to themes and saying save current theme. And then it's kind of a personal theme, so I'm just going to say my theme 1. And that theme will be available to me the next time that I open up my Word 2010 on my machine. Don't count on it being on a different machine. It will just be on your machine. You should take into consideration if the document is going to be printed or if it's going to be read primarily on a computer monitor. Font makes a big difference in readability. It's recommended that if a document is going to be printed, then to use serif font. And if the document is going to be primarily read on a monitor screen, then use a sans serif font. So what's the difference? Well, serif is a small line attached to the end of the stroke of a letter, and sans serif does not have the small line. Still confused? All right, let's see an example. So I opened up a new document and I typed on top of the world. The first on top of the world is in Times New Roman, which is a serif font. You see the little tails at the end of the letter stroke. And then the second one is Arial, which is a sans serif font. Now, using a serif for printed and a sans serif for electronic delivery is just a recommendation, but for the MLA and APA formats, you must use Times New Roman 12-point font. Lastly, I'd like to mention about themes is if we add a graphic, chart, smart art, which this is a smart art, word art, or even a picture, all of these elements can be in the theme colors and again looks like a cohesive part of the document. For example, if I decide to go ahead and change the colors once again, you'll see that my smart art goes along right with the theme colors. And likewise, since I set the picture to have a theme color, it changes as well. Let's review what we learned. Styles are applied to text within the document, whereas a theme is applied to the overall document to give it a cohesive appearance to the text and objects. We applied headings, quotes, and book titles, and customized selecting the type of styles of the styles. And we applied a theme, customizing the theme by changing the color and the font set.